Hello, everybody. In this video, I am going to show you how to read a chord diagram. Um, I don't want to assume that you know how. If you already do, great. Um, but I want to show you how to read a chord diagram and introduce you to the caged system of learning guitar chords. So we'll move right along. You'll have several videos to watch this week. The sooner you can watch them all, the better. And I wanted to make them so that you didn't have to watch a whole 30-minute video to get to the part that you wanted. So I'm going to kind of try to break this down into little smaller pieces. So I'm at the Performing Arts webpage. You can get to that through Google Classroom. I have that link pushed up to the top. Be a good idea to bookmark it because it'll come in handy. So I scroll down to guitar, and I scroll down a little more to the caged chord chart. And when I click on this, it takes me to this PDF, which I would suggest you print if you really want to read this and use it a lot. But these are the chords in the 5 main keys of guitar, in the 5 first position keys of guitar. There are other first position keys, I shouldn't have said that. But in the easiest ones to play, and the ones that use a lot of open chords. So this is the caged system. C-A-G-E-D. Whoops, I didn't want to move that. C-A-G-E-D. Caged. Why? Because it deals with 5 keys. The key of C, key of A, G, E, and D. Mr. Pulliam, why didn't they put them in the order C-A-G-E-D if it's a caged chord chart? Well, there's a reason that these keys are in the order that they are in, and I'm not going to explain it to you right now. It would more likely confuse you than anything. So for now, we're just going to know that we're using a caged system. There are 5 main keys that we'll learn first. There are also 5 chord shapes that almost every chord on the guitar is based off of these 5 chord shapes: C, A, D, C, A, G, D, and E. C, A, G, E, and D. Most of the chords are on a guitar are based on those 5 chord shapes. But the first 3 that we're going to learn are in the key of G. We're going to learn a G chord, a C chord, and a D chord. And I have a sheet for you on Classroom that just has those 3 chords on it. So you don't have to wade through all these other ones to get to these. And they're also quite a bit bigger, so they're easy to read the numbers on them. Why a G, C, and D chord? Well, because in the key of G, being in the key of G means that if you were to sing do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, so, fa, mi, re, do, do would be G. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. In the key of C, C would be do. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And I probably started I didn't start on a C or G that time. I was just starting on a pitch. But that's how the key gets its name. G in this case is called the 1 chord. I really wish that wouldn't flash on and off like that. It annoys me. Probably annoys you too, but oh well. G is the 1 chord, Roman numeral 1. C is the 4 chord, Roman numeral 4. D is the 5 chord, Roman numeral 5. They are all those three are major chords. Notice they don't have a little letter behind them. Like this says A, M. That's an A minor chord. This is a B minor chord, and this is an E minor chord. We're not going to worry about minor chords right now. We're going to worry about these three major chords, G, C, and D. Again, 1, 4, and 5 chords. I'm going to go to the sheet that I will give you on Google Classroom, or maybe have already given it to you on Google Classroom. It depends on what order you're watching the videos in. G major, C major, D major. Now I labeled them for you as major chords, just to remind you that you're learning major chords. Normally, a major chord won't have the word major behind it. If a chord is minor, it will just have a lowercase m behind it, and a major chord will have nothing behind it, usually. Okay, so this is a G chord. It is the 1 chord, Roman numeral 1. C is the 4 chord, D is the 5 chord. Roman numeral 1, Roman numeral 4, Roman numeral 5. So you'll need to brush up on your Roman numerals. But until then, I've also put the Arabic numerals under there. There is actually a system of designating chords called Nashville numbers, and they just use regular Arabic numbers. This is the more widely used way of numbering chords. Why do you need to know the numbers? It will make it easier for you to play something in a different key later on. If a song is in a key that's too high for you to sing, or that you're accompanying somebody and it's too high for them to sing, and they want it sung in a lower, or they want it played in a lower key, if you learn to think in terms of chord numbers instead of chord names, it'll be a whole lot easier to play it in a different key. That's why. 1, 4, and 5. Bum, bum, bum. 1, 5, 4. 1, na, 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 da, da. Or 1, 4, 5. 1, 4, 5. You've probably heard that movement in lots of music. I'll give you some more examples when I have a guitar in my hand. But I'm going to show you how to read these chord diagrams. If you were looking at your guitar, these lines, the longer lines here, would be your strings. You're looking at the neck. These are the strings. This is the nut, the little white piece of plastic up toward the top end of your guitar, top end of the neck that the strings pass over. These lines, side to side, each represent a fret. So this is the nut, 1st fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 4th fret, 5th fret. The strings are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this is the skinniest string on a guitar. This is the fattest string on the guitar if you're playing a right-handed guitar. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the E string, A string, D string, G string, B string, and then another E string, a higher E string. To play a G major chord, you take your index finger or your number 1 finger and you put it on the 5th string behind the 2nd fret. You take your ring finger and you place it on the 6th string behind the 3rd fret. And you take, no, that's not your ring finger, that's your middle finger. Index, middle finger, ring finger goes on the 1st string, on the thinnest string, at the 3rd fret, and that's a G chord. These 3 strings ring open. It's an open chord because these strings are not fretted. So that's a G major chord. You can play all of the strings on the guitar in a G major chord. In a C major chord, your index finger goes on the 2nd string at the first fret. Skip the third string. On the fourth string, your second finger, middle finger, goes on at the second fret. And on the fifth string, your ring finger goes at the third fret. You notice there's an X up here. That means this isn't played. This string is not played. If you play that low E string in a C major chord, it's not the end of the world. It will still sound okay. It'll still work because there is an E in a C major chord, but it will sound better if you don't play it. D major chord, you don't play the lowest string, the sixth string. These two strings ring free. That's what the circles mean. These two strings ring free over here. And then for the D major, your index finger goes on the third string, 1, 2, 3, at the second fret, 1, 2. Your middle finger goes on the high E string, the first string, at the second fret, 1, 2. And your ring finger goes on the second string at the third fret, 1, 2, 3. So I will show you how to play those in another video. If you've watched the other video first, then I just showed you how to read a chord diagram. But get used to that. Lefties, you can find left-handed chord charts. I can find one for you. But if you're left-handed, I suggest that you go ahead and just learn to mirror this because you won't find music published with left-hand guitar chords in it. It'll all have right-hand guitar chords. Really, by the time you get, eventually you won't even need the chords, the chord diagrams. You'll just be able to use the letters. But still, I would really suggest that if you can, that you try to mirror this. If not, we'll find a left-handed chord chart for you. I might find one for you anyway, just starting out. But the sooner you can start reading a regular chord chart, the better off you'll be. Sorry, I know it's not fair, but that's reality. Okay, so these are the three chords you will work on. These are the three chords I want you working on. I will want you to, those are the three chords I want you to start working on first. We'll get into what I want you to do with them later. So that's it for that video. I'll talk to you next time.